Welcome to r/agedlikemilk, where the schadenfreude is real. John Oliver, 2016 has been the worst year ever. Yeah, you've got a hell of a 9 years coming. He also did one on 2020 being the worst year. Even still, worst year goalposts keep moving every year. I have a slight feeling he'll do it again this year. 2016 was a much more innocent time. 2026 is gonna be the worst. Election will be a fucking nightmare, especially when the right-wing loonies get their asses beat and try to steal it. They're already trying to. Like, look at Texas. What possible interest would the US government have in keeping Epstein's clients secret? What happened to JD Vance with his spine? Oh yeah, he went bald and had a lollipop and a spinny rainbow helicopter hat. My bad. If you're a journalist and you're not asking questions about this case, you should be ashamed of yourself. Well, now you're telling journalists to do that exact same thing. What purpose do you even serve? I'm sure there's a middle-class teenager somewhere who could use some harassing right now, but maybe try to do your job once in a while? Well, now you're doing the exact fucking thing. You're telling news agencies to harass trans teenagers somewhere, as opposed to, the fucking Epstein files. Oh, but don't worry, this motherfucker's got no sense of self-awareness, and probably thinks this is somehow different. When he wrote those tweets, it was in his interest to try and set himself apart from Trump. Once it became clear that it was in his interest to support him, he did. These are not beliefs, these are calculated moves. He doesn't believe anything he says. Only what advances Peter Thiel's interests, and by extension, his. Yay, I love Peter Thiel and I love Palantir, whoa. Literally turning it into 1984, and techno-feudalism, yay. The entire GOP is this way, and apparently a lot of the national level Democrats. Cause why actually fight tyranny when you can just send a strongly worded letter? Cause they've still got donors to appease. Most of their voters are too. My Republican family's deeply held values. Blow with the conservative media sphere wins. It's almost amusing, in a disturbing way. Does her dad know? White supremacy, like all other forms of terrorism, is an evil that must be destroyed. A good take. From a Trump. Wow. Just a real shame that she's probably gonna switch up on that when dear leader head of the household tells her to. Nobody has heard from this person in months. Seems like she and her husband took their billions in Saudi blood money and are laying low for now. Yeah, as much as it's a good take, a broken clock can be right twice a day. She will show up back in the media in a few years when a pedo-rapist daddy has gone to try a new grift. Guaranteed. When was this? 6 years ago, and I think she probably has a different opinion now. Lol. They, alongside a lot of Republicans, don't actually stand for anything, and only stands for what gets them money, power, fame, or whatever they desire. Our political leaders seem to suffer from dementia. I think it's called selective amnesia, and yeah, a lot of them do. Democrats would rather play politics than work with President Trump to make our communities safe again. This you? I will not stop fighting until all of the Epstein's records are released. The American people deserve transparency and his victims deserve justice. Well, yeah, but then they actually got into office. What, you expect them to actually do what they campaigned on, and it being more than just a thing that they say to get into power? You've obviously never dealt with a Republican. It's sickening to see so many leftists on social media spreading false rumors about Trump and his health. The Democrats have no class. I mean, I don't know about you, but weird, bloodied up, bruised, gangrene, rotting hand doesn't really indicate to me that he's in the best of health. This you bitch? Is Joe Biden alive? Everything. Literally everything the cult cries about, they've already done. It's unbelievable how it's literally every single time they complain about something. You search their tweets for a keyword from their complaint, there they are years ago doing the exact fucking thing they're complaining about. Every accusation is a confession, as they say. Yeah, I think during my experience of making all of these videos, I can 100% not sarcastically tell you that Republicans definitely 1,000,000% are not total fucking hypocrites. Donald Trump vows to be a protector of women, whether they like it or not. It's really not a surprise that Trump does not care about women's consent. I mean, it's not the first time he's said or done something that would indicate that to me. But hey, how is protecting women gone? Oh, Trump revokes Secret Service protection for former Vice President Kamala Harris? Vice presidents typically get 6 months of protection after leaving office, but President Joe Biden signed a memorandum in January extending Harris's protection to 18 months. But looks like Trump doesn't want to protect women. Oh yeah, Republicans are total fucking hypocrites. It's not like he's retaliating because they're a political opponent. I mean, when has he ever done that? Hey chat, if you guys are enjoying the video, you should totally like, subscribe and share, cause it helps this gay guy reading stuff a lot. Anyways, thanks for watching and back to the video. Only Laura gets to be excited about the president's possible death. Oh, finally, after so many weeks without peak stupidity, Laura Looney Loomer's back. Yay. I miss the urge to smash my head against a brick wall. They're all panicking. Come on, you liberal assholes. You all knew Joe Biden was an Alzheimer's patient when he stole the election 4 years ago. Stop pretending like you didn't know he was on his deathbed. This is what you get for stealing our election. Cope. Oh yeah, she is an election denialist. And she's probably gonna say the midterms are gonna be stolen. You know, despite the fact Trump has got like some of the lowest polls I think he's ever had. But hey, it must be stolen, right? But hey, how's fantasizing about dead people going? Oh, Snowflake can only dish it and not take it? Right. Mike Nellis, the business partner of Lauren Merchant, the daughter of Judge Juan Merchant, fantasizing about Trump being dead. Meanwhile, Jesse B. Waters has this R-word heifer on his show regularly. Why aren't Mike Nellis and Lauren Merchant in prison again? This is so gross. You want people in prison for saying stuff? Oh yeah, Republicans don't actually care about the Constitution. The only thing uglier than Loomer's face is her soul. Well, yeah, but she'd have to have one for that. Oh, okay, you got me there. Posted just after the inauguration. Conservatism as a whole is picking up around the world. Not with a lot of sane countries, but okay. And quite honestly, it's time that it finally came around. America isn't the only country being plagued by the problems the progressives bring. A lot of the problems in the US can be pointed to the greed of the 1%, the lack of compassion and aid for people, and complacency in suffering, like lack of affordable healthcare and medicine, lack of affordable housing, and lack of good workers' rights. But hey, you can blame the immigrants all you want, it ain't gonna fix anything. Look at what happened to Canada closer to the end of shit-stained Truloff's reign. He's destroyed the Canadian economy, and has directly violated the rights of millions of Canadians on a multitude of occasions. Look at what's going on the UK, with the grooming gangs. All of this utter garbage is nothing but a result of the progressive policies that have been implemented throughout the globe. And it's time those policies be repealed so we as a collective people can get back on track. Conservatives have been in charge of the UK for almost 20 years leading up to the recent Labour Party win. Well, yeah, but the fact that Labour's been in for like 2 years was the whole reason of the past 20 years of problems. If the US blue states in the US didn't do things the way they did, we would be a lot poorer. These pricks will bitch about California, but then when it comes time for federal money to come around, they have all of their hands out. That federal money wouldn't be there if it wasn't for the blue states providing the federal government money. You wanna talk about redistribution of wealth? Then why the fuck is California paying for roads being built in red states? Why is California tax money building rural healthcare clinics in the Bible Belt? And Labour only won because their candidate is the most conservative party member they could find in the country's bottom drawers. 6 months ago, some folks believed a Canadian boycott wouldn't make any difference to the United States. As someone that lives in the UK, I really have to say, the whole main character syndrome of certain Americans politically is really something I'm not envious of. Because, fun fact, just because you're great big America does not mean that you're immune from international economics. Or, you know, basic fucking consequences of your actions. This literally won't make a difference in America. Many of us are choosing not to travel to the US anytime soon as well. That's gonna take a bite out of the US multi-billion-dollar travel industry. Won't make a difference. This guy definitely gets all of his info from Fox News, because last time I checked, when you start arresting people at airports for memes, and you've illegally detained and arrested and deported people, it would make a lot of people ever so slightly, just a tiny bit less likely to come to your country. I mean, except if it's the case that like North Korea is a really popular tourist destination. I've not checked for a while, so I might be wrong on that front. I live in a city heavily travelled to by Canadians. Bookings were down almost right away after the election, and I'm guessing the same will be true come the off-season, when Canadians make up a majority of the visitors. They put up big adverts across Europe that brands like McDonald's and Coke have lots of local workers, and if you boycott them, they'll also lose their jobs. Why should they plaster the walls with ads if this has no effect? Well, to be fair, some things that are American brands do not mean it's an American arm of the company. McDonald's Canada is a fully Canadian supply chain through and through. Yes, they pay for some naming rights to McDonald's proper, but almost all of the McDonald's Canada business money stays in Canada for the rich Canadian executives to profit off of. Wait, that doesn't sound much better anyways. But anyways, it does hurt hundreds of thousands of Canadians in Canadian branches of companies if you do fully boycott them. I mean, it's your money and you can spend it how you want, but if you really want to boycott anything American, go for it. You are not intelligent if you're assuming I'm blocking the release of Epstein files or holding them back in any way. I'm one of the few pushing for their release while everyone else is quiet. Well, they've got the bark, but have they got the bite? Oh, they don't. It's all talk. Got it. Rep Luna says she won't be signing on to Massey's discharge petition for releasing the Epstein files, after Oversight released some documents last night. If all Dems sign on, backers only need 2 more Republicans to get on board. But the path to 218 looks tricky. Well, yeah, because didn't the White House say that if you vote for releasing the Epstein files, it's somehow against the Trump regime? So, of course, all of these people talking the good talk suddenly bow down because they don't want to offend dear leader. And it really makes you think, why are they saying that if you vote to release the Epstein files, it's somehow harmful to the Trump regime? A real head scratcher, that. I guess the victims do want justice. Huh, who'd have thought? Shark Tank's Kevin O'Leary says childbearing. That's certainly a thing. Epstein victims should move on. Claims that they don't want justice. I think victims of horrific things would want justice. I really don't know about you. I really wonder why the incredibly rich person doesn't want these people to keep on talking about Epstein. Crazy one, that. What the fuck does childbearing victims mean? Like they got pregnant, or that they're of childbearing age? Or just children's themselves? What the fuck? That they're currently of what's considered peak childbearing age, I'd guess. Also, that Kevin O'Leary is fucking despicable. I'd guess Kevin is on the list. E-bike manufacturer celebrates tariffs, and then stops selling their flagship e-bike because of tariffs. Wait, no, it's definitely because of the libs, right? Yeah, it was because of the libs. AC/DC bikes celebrating tariffs. Chickens celebrating KFC, anyone? With the end of de minimis, Chinese manufacturers can no longer avoid tariffs by claiming their e-bikes are valued at under $800 and shipping one at a time. This is huge for US brands who've been crushed by the manufacturers, who've been flooding the market and avoiding the tariffs. It may suck for consumers, but it's saving jobs and leveling the playing field. No, I think it's just Trump shooting himself in the foot, because he somehow thinks that all American manufacturing is just going to suddenly appear. And also, you know, all of the raw materials, all the components, and all of that lovely stuff to actually, you know, manufacture. Of course, Taco Day is probably right around the corner, but for now, my brand is celebrating. Because of tariffs, we're taking a break from producing the Venture, our flagship e-bike, and its step-through version, the Tailwind. If you're in the Costa Mesa area, we have a few of these models left at clearance prices, including low-mileage models used for test rides and a couple with cosmetic scratches. Contact us for details and pricing. You mean that you couldn't import them cheap enough, right? No, it meant that, like, the libs or something like that. Oh, actually, yeah, it was Biden's fault, right? Yeah, it definitely wasn't because of your vote of Trump. They forgot, like, most of their components are made outside the USA. Well, yeah, but they're gonna have, like, all of the manufacturing in the US, right? MAGA isn't known for their intelligence. I dunno, at the end of the post they say, Taco Day is probably around the corner. Would a MAGA say that? Maybe. Well, yeah, MAGAs are greedy, and probably deep down inside they're hoping these tariffs don't happen. I'd like to hope, but they probably think the tariffs are gonna somehow make them millionaires. MAGA's primary trait is selfishness. They don't care about anyone but themselves. So once one of their own impacts them, they'll turn on them. Well, why do you think so many of the Trump regret posts that I find is always when it affects them, not other people? Or, I mean, maybe if they're feeling generous, people that they know. But hey, they're the most selfless people on the planet, right? And definitely just don't care about enriching themselves. You know, despite the fact that they're probably middle or working class and have basically nothing to gain from billionaires getting tax cuts. Tom Alexandrovich, whose name you've spelt wrong, has a court date on August 27th. I guess my question is, when he shows up for his court date, what excuse are you going to make for being wrong about this? Readers added context. Tom Alexandrovich missed his court date. He is never going back. He's a total scumbag, but it's just logical at this point. I mean, if Saudi Arabia wanted me in court and I'm in Scotland, guess where I will never go? It's so fun how we had internationally sanctioned war criminal and walking human rights violation Vladimir Putin on home soil. Wonder what the difference between you and Putin is? That he felt perfectly safe coming here? It's crazy that we live in a time where it's safer for a war criminal responsible for the deaths of thousands and thousands of people and an illegal invasion and countless other crimes to come to the US than someone posting a meme or someone traveling and saying something negative about Trump. Crazy times. Maybe the fact that the USA has a long established position of not recognizing the ICC as having any authority over anyone on their soil, or anyone holding USA citizenship. Ah yes, the US, famously known for being against war crimes. WikiLeaks. The USA has a fucking law that they're going to invade The Hague if the ICC tries to detain a US citizen regardless of if they're guilty of the crimes they're accused of or not. This is the bad place. Do any Americans or politicians just look at themselves in the mirror sometimes and have like a we the baddies moment? Like, come on. Invading the International Criminal Court if they arrest someone of war crimes? Yeah, that really screams innocent party.